So let's get this show on the road. Caden, I'll go ahead and let you share your screen with us today. But we're going to start this meeting the same way that we start every single meeting, and that is with wins. And so I would love to know how anybody is winning personally, business-wise. We celebrate the wins, large or small. We would love for you to just unmute and tell us the good news. No wins. Nobody's winning.
All right, I'll share.
Yes.
Yesterday at 3:30, I have a purchase agreement that was accepted on a new building, on a new property for our company.
That's so exciting. Congratulations. You're making all the big moves, Brent. Just ripping the Band-Aid off. Let's get it all done at once.
Yeah, isn't that the truth?
I love it. I love it. Any other wins? Jonathan isn't on the screen here, but they just moved into a bigger house. He's about to have his third kid. So we are excited for Jonathan Rood. If he's your coach, give him a congratulations.
Oh yeah, I'll take congratulations from everyone, even if I'm not your coach here.
So we're excited for him. Any other wins coming in here today? No.
Yeah, I have a quick win, but I'm trying to do some technical support in 1 second here. There we go. We're good. There we go.
Your camera not working? There you are.
No, I got it. No, I had somebody just this last week, Solomon of Solomon Moss Tiling, you know, within his first month here, I know that when you start off, it's like, man, I hear all the good news about just something as simple as Google reviews and so forth. And, you know, everyone's talking about it, bragging about it. And, you know, even if you believe it, it's like, is it going to work for me? And soon enough, this guy, Solomon, he had 0 reviews. He's got 20 some reviews now, maybe 30, but bottom line, he immediately could tell a difference. I'm not saying 10 people a day are calling him and saying, I found you online and I love your reviews, but some people have mentioned his reviews and said, I specifically chose you and I'm paying more for you for this remodeling project because I saw your reviews. And then other people just come, there's just, everything's different. You can tell that people are looking him up, they're researching him more, they're reading his reviews. And he was like, this is really nice, it's working. So I love that because
yes, that's a huge win.
Even with a few dozen reviews, like he's not at 300 yet, but man, he's feeling it. He's pretty quickly. So that's my win.
Does anybody here remember the first time they got that response of somebody calling them and saying that they called you because they saw your reviews? Can I get a show of hands of anybody who remembers that experience? Yes, I see hands going up all the way around. I see James even gave us a thumbs up here. And so it's such a fun feeling. And as those reviews build, you're just going to get that more and more. So much more where that came from for your client, Rudy. Okay, so Caden, I'm going to let you get us going here. What we're going to be talking about today is onboarding. I know that I have a lot of clients who are looking to hire right now. Does anybody here have anybody here looking to hire right now? That's something you're doing, bringing on people? I thought so. So this is a great talk for you to figure out how to best onboard those employees. So Caden, I'll let you take it away.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you so much. So happy you guys are here. Yeah, so today, don't really want to talk about just how to onboard your guys, get new hires up and running, but how to onboard great employees. You know, what do we need to do not only to get these guys up to speed as quickly as possible, but how can we set them up for success? And so does anyone in here currently have an onboarding process built? Do you have a checklist that you run with new guys? You can raise a hand, give me a thumbs up, whatever works. Perfect. Yeah. And so with that said, the rest of you may think, you know, what is the point of an onboarding process? You know, you think, you know, these guys, they'll figure it out themselves. They're smart guys, but not only do they need to be trained in the way that your business handles things, but they need to be accustomed to your company culture, your values, so on and so forth. So again, why even bother with an onboarding process? Well, it sets a precedent for new employees. It shows you're wanting and willing to invest time into them, your time, your resources, your experience, your knowledge. I mean, everything, all of these things with them. The second thing being is that we want to set them up for success. We want them to get operating as effectively as possible, as quickly as possible. And so if we can eliminate the time spent answering phone calls from new hires, answering questions from new hires, especially things that don't pertain to the job site itself, these calls, I mean, they can ruin productivity. And in turn, you're wasting money paying for these guys just to be an expense. And so with that said, what's the most important thing a new employee needs to know? Well, it's the most important thing for any employee. We want them to be independent. We want to get them to a point where they're making you more money than they cost. So getting them trained, getting them onboarding, running smoothly, so you guys can start out there producing more revenue. And so the next thing is we need to.
That one thing that I hear from clients all the time, and I would love to see a show of hands if you have felt this way before. Nicole, I know I need to hire, but I don't want to have to train somebody. I don't have the time. I don't have the time to train somebody to get them up to speed. It would just slow me down. Has anybody ever felt that way? I know I hear it a lot. And so this is going to be one of the key tools that you'll use to be able to hire people successfully, get them going quickly, and really try to avoid those, just stupid questions that can come along the way.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's the whole point of having, one of these checklists that you will build, because we want to be able to answer those questions before they even come up. And so essentially we're targeting those questions on their very first day. And so basically in terms of building this checklist, this process, we need to know what can we do to get these guys set up for success as quickly as possible. So some stupid questions that you guys may hear, how do I clock in? How do I get paid? When can I take my lunch? Do I get other breaks? I mean, have you guys heard any questions like this?
And to be fair too, I would say these are stupid questions. They feel like stupid questions, but they're also incredibly important.
Right.
How do I show up? When do I show up? Those sorts of things. That's awesome.
I've asked these questions.
Exactly. I mean, everyone's going to have these questions on their very first day. And so that's why we want to address them before they ever come up. And again, eliminating the time spent answering these things while an employee's out on the job actually managing the work. And so from that point, we've answered these questions. We have addressed these things with them. Now we want to be able to set expectations moving forward. And so this is basically getting them indoctrinated into your culture through, ongoing training, maybe even giving homework to new hires, managing their time outside of work, just to kind of set a standard of commitment needed for your business. And so these are the things that you guys can build into your onboarding checklist just to give them an idea of what working for you and your business looks like. But again, the ultimate goal is turning these guys into an asset for your business. And so we just need to build the pathway to get them there. So step one, obviously, we need to create this onboarding checklist that we're going to be using with these guys. So we have some examples here that we've built for clients. As you can see, it includes the training required, the policies that you guys may have. Rogers Plumbing actually includes words that he doesn't want his guys to use on any given basis, even internally, like the word nipple, for example. Even though that's something that it may be called, the customers probably don't know that. And so he sets a standard for his guys on the very first day. Redmond Growth, for example, we have homework that we give to new hires, required reading materials as a part of our training. And so this has, helped us gauge how well new hires are able to manage time even outside of the office. So, I mean, we literally want to print these things off and check each of these boxes as you go over with them, the new hire one-on-one. And then really the second step, as you can see with these checklists, you know, it's going to take some time. And so we need to block off at least an hour on the new hire's first day for onboarding. This is going to be very, 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 very important. And like Nicole said, I know you guys already have a ton of stuff going on in your day-to-day. And so setting aside an hour can be, you know, a huge obligation. But with that said, setting its time aside initially to go over these things with the new hire is going to save you hours and hours in the long term. Does that make sense? But with that said, the most important thing is just knowing that you cannot expect anyone to get it 100% after just 1 hour long conversation, even with one of these onboarding checklists. And, you know, we can refine the onboarding process as much as we want, but you'll always get the best results when we're setting expectations with these guys. We're giving them constant reminders, and ultimately you're keeping your team accountable. You know, Tim Redmond, legendary CEO around these parts, one of his best quotes is, "People need 1,000 nudges." So you're going to constantly have to be keeping your guys accountable, constantly be giving them reminders, but again, all in efforts of setting them up for success. And as we know, and as you guys have probably experienced as well, you know, a trial by fire kind of culture is not going to be the best way to set these guys up. Again, you're going to be spending hours upon hours trying to train these guys moving forward, as opposed to taking the time to do it initially. And then really the last thing is lean on your team to assess these new employees. You know, a great quote from Ken Blanchard. He founded one of the leading consulting and leadership companies in the entire world. And he has a quote that is, "None of us is as smart as all of us." And basically, all that means is everyone has their strengths and their weaknesses. And even though each member of your team is an expert in what they do, one of you guys is not nearly going to be as smart or effective as all of you as a team. So you can lean on your team to you know, see where the new hire needs help in developing, what they're good at, what they need assistance with. And you can
Now,
utilize KPIs moving forward.
Make sure that the team members that you're getting feedback from are your A players. Let's make sure that the team member, you know, if you have a negative Nelly on your team, or if he's consistently showing up late, let's not really give him much credit. If he's saying something negative about the new guy, he might be threatened by the new guy. And we got to make sure that everybody is held to the same standards. And so with having that onboarding checklist, if you haven't gone over it with current team members, and this is something brand new to you, I would go over it with current team members. And I would say, hey, I know that you've been an employee for a blank amount of years. This is something we should have had when we brought you on, and we didn't. And so let's go over it here just to set expectations of our company culture, of maybe our company values, of just our systems and processes, so that everybody's on the same page. We're holding everybody accountable to the same standards and the same systems. And with that onboarding checklist, if you have an employee of your team who is kind of your lead tech or your lead carpenter or your project manager, I would sit down with them and go over that onboarding checklist with them and say, hey, what have I missed here? Or what are the things that maybe a new employee isn't willing to say to me as the business owner, but they're coming to you and asking you these questions, or they're confused about blank? You know, what are the little things that tend to get thrown your way, those little questions? Let's get them down here. Let's make that part of our process when we're bringing somebody on. So not only is it not wasting my time, but it's not wasting your time either. because it's your responsibility as the business owner to really set up that new employee for success. And so like Caden said, if you're just doing the trial by fire, just saying, figure it out, they're probably not going to. They're probably going to disappoint you. And you might be saying, hey, but Nicole, that's how I learned. Well, that's because you're a freaking business owner. Okay. You're a different breed. All right. Of course you have to do, of course you didn't have to have these guidelines and rules and checklists. That's why you're a business owner. They're never going to be able to be you. And so we've got to give them the tools that they need in order to avoid these little things. Sorry, Caden.
No, that was great.
You know, I'm gonna apologize as well because I wanted to throw this in here. One short thing on that is I love that quote. None of us is as smart of all of us, and getting feedback from the team. But here's the thing: just because you ask for feedback doesn't mean you have to implement the feedback. So people like to feel heard, but you could also tell them up front, hey, and we've had this in our own meetings, guys. What feedback do you have? And hey, I may not do anything with it, but I want to hear. You know, that's okay. You know, people like to at least express, you know, what their point of view is, and sometimes it could be way off, and sometimes it could be some good insight that you want to think about a little bit more and put in the back burner. But just because you're asking for feedback doesn't mean you are forced to implement it. It's like, I'm afraid to ask for feedback because that means I have to do everything they say. What's your feedback? I want more pay. Oh, okay. That's not what I'm asking, but you get it. So that's the main thing, because you're asking for feedback doesn't mean you have to implement, and it's still valuable even if you don't implement it because people feel heard. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, really good stuff from you guys, and that's exactly what we're going for, is just getting your team's insight, because again, like Nicole said, those new hires may express things to other team members that they may not express to you. And so having those guys to lean on is going to be extremely valuable in getting new guys trained up. But with that said, so kind of a lot of information here, kind of gone through it pretty quickly. But we can get into breakout rooms, answer any questions that you guys may have, and potentially just start brainstorming on ways to make your onboarding process a bit more effective.